DJ Stan.
Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on this morning. Talk with me, your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. There they are. And today we got in the house Dr. Maya Bowen and Cacique. Oh, yeah. Let's start off with our local chieftain. How you doing there, brother?
Good morning, Stan, and peace, family, to all our viewers and our listeners.
Mm-hmm. How was your weekend?
Well, Stan, once again, we had an incredible weekend, and this weekend was special because I took my wife to see her sister, who's very sick, and, you know, she could be terminally ill. You know, that's her prognosis right now. But we brought her some happiness. We spent time with her, and my wife and her sister, they get along so well. They support each other so much. So it was special for me to be there and to witness that. So it was great.
All right. Well, we'll pray for her strength and health.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We got Dr. Maya Bowen also in the house. Morning, Dr. Bowen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing awesome. I'm still awestruck by the beautiful weather that we had over the past 3 to 4 days, and it was greatly appreciated. So yeah, I started looking at the clock in terms of the calendar, not even the clock, looking at the calendar, and the semester is going by seemingly fast, and we have about 6 weeks to go before finals launch, and then we close out our semester. So I'm excited about that.
All right. Students are doing well?
Students are doing what students do, and so it's almost like a rainbow. I think of it as a rainbow with a variety of interesting colors in terms of how it is that they apply themselves in terms of their work ethic, and I'll stand on that.
There we go. All right, we got Mr. Torres joining us this morning too. Senor Torres.
Okay.
Yes, I should do a shout out to him. Good morning. Yeah. All right, so the big election's over. Thank goodness. No more ads. Yes. I was getting sick of the ads. Be honest with you. I mean, they were driving me up the wall. It's just beyond over the top. It just, oh my goodness. It's like, is there nothing else on TV?
I would love for them to take the money out of the politics and then focus on the issues.
That would be nice.
I mean, how does the common person meaning individuals that aren't part of the 1 to 3% with the money to actually expend on campaign related things become a part of the having the seat at the table, if it is that money is really driving how it is that individuals get elected? It's beyond me. I also started thinking about how it is that individuals that are in that 1 to 3% really can't relate to the commoner, right? So how do you relate to the types of issues that are happening at the grassroots level if it is that you don't have those very same issues? So it makes me wonder a lot of things about how politics actually plays out. But again, it is a quote unquote game, and so to the victor goes the spoils.
To the victor go the spoils, but more importantly than that, to the victor go, to the victor goes the policies that are made. I mean, these people sit in high places. They make the rules as to what you can do, what you can't do. And as you mentioned, the average person is being priced out. So,
Absolutely.
Rather than people becoming representatives of the community, representatives of the people, these individuals that are elected, they become representatives of the money that puts them into office. And it's a lot of money that these guys are spending out there, and they price you out, even on the local level now. You're priced out. So your voice becomes of no value, because as you mentioned, the commercials, they don't talk about any policies. They don't talk about issues that actually impact you. There's a lot of negative attack ads about how this person's no good, that person's no good, this person's extreme, that person's less extreme, this person's more extreme, this person has 2 faces, this person has 3 heads, all this stuff about the other. But where do you stand on critical issues? We're going to talk about one of those critical issues, in a few minutes here. But there's a lot of things going on.
Well, I just want to say that Dr. Maya and Stan, thank you for your opening remarks, because I agree that these politicians and their ads and their messages in these ads are extremely annoying. They're unreal, and like you so aptly stated, Stan, they don't help us at all. They don't help anyone in the community, with these attacks, because they don't talk about what they're going to do to make our situation better. But I think that I just want to point out something real quick that I've been saying. We are in the age of the Great Awakening. And a lot of these things are coming to a head. A lot of things are bought out. Corruption is everywhere. But a lot of that stuff is coming out now. And so these things are coming to a head. Look at what's happening now with the basketball player Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people are upset about that, man. Because if Kyrie is such a terrible person for putting that video on his website, why aren't the people who are selling it terrible people? What's the deal with that? So things like that are coming out now, and people are becoming more aware, and every day a little more conscience is being developed and raised. And I think that we're going to see some tremendous changes. I would like, and I'm going to go on publicly and say this, I haven't watched football since Colin Kaepernick wasn't, since his debacle started.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to watch basketball. I've been watching basketball. I came here from Puerto Rico, or from Borican, in 1967, and I became a basketball fan quickly. And I'm going to stop watching basketball. I'm going to stop promoting it. Because we got to stop that. We have to stop promoting things that hurt us. And I've said it on the show every week. I am not sure that the current political environment of this country is good for anyone, but particularly black and brown people. So I'm standing on that.
Well, I have to semi-agree with you. In fact, I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. The system, and whether or not the system, designed for us, works for us, or works against us. It's sort of like being on a ship. You may be on board a ship, and the ship's not designed for you, but where the ship goes, you go. And, if the system benefits you in some way, because the system does benefit us in that there's roads, electricity. I mean, the system is bigger than the people who necessarily are elected. Because if you look at countries, cities, and towns that have unstable governments or bad governments, where the system that serves the whole, the human beings that live there, collapse, things are not well. And so I think that as long as the system is here, we have a responsibility to navigate and chart the course of that ship. And, with this past election, and I'll use the Republicans as an example. The Republicans thought that they might do much better in the state of Connecticut than they did. But they didn't. They're notorious for staying home and coming out only on presidential elections. But with all of the clamoring, and the only reason I use them as an example is they're typical of lots of different groups. I come to understand and believe that people just like to complain or vent. And there's nothing wrong with venting. Sometimes that's all you want to do. Like you go to the barber shop and you shoot, you talk about what's wrong. It doesn't mean you actually want to do anything about it or affect real change. Now, I use this as an example. He may be watching one of the very best friends of mine. I'll never forget, I was a member of a church, and all these people were complaining about the pastor. I mean, complain. So what did I do? I called a meeting of all of the members, got them all together, and told pastor we really need to talk, this, that, and the third. And so here we are, all gathered together, and I says, well, we got pastor here now. Let's talk about these issues. Crickets. Nobody said anything. And here I am looking like the big town idiot. I learned a very valuable lesson. Sometimes people may not like a particular thing or they want to complain about something. That doesn't mean that they want overall change. It doesn't mean they really dislike a thing. They're just venting. And I think a lot of times that's what we see, venting. So will we see people get upset and stop going to, the Nets game and all these other things, and they're going to stop buying stuff at Amazon? No. No. They're going to vent. They're going to complain until the next thing comes up. What they need to do is really be engaged and start to take action. Now, to transition to our guests, there has been a lot of work done around the subject or issue of cannabis. We have stores that are opening up. We have colleges like UConn that have whole programs for agriculture concerning cannabis. Businesses, it's like a $250,000 licensing fee. There's all this stuff that's going on. Decisions that are being made. Laws that are being crafted. Policies that are being made around cannabis, which once was illegal and you get arrested and put in jail. Now that the state has decided that they want a piece of the pie and they're writing all these rules, the people that write the rules are the folks who get to be able to afford $1 million campaign to run for mayor, to bring along city council people with them. They get to spend $43 million combined to run for governor. The average person whose government this is supposed to be is being priced out of the game. They're being priced out of having a voice so that they're reduced to nothing more than complainers. Because if we don't actively get involved, then our ship has been hijacked. Our plane's been hijacked. Our bus has been hijacked, and it's no longer serving us, but we're sitting on board the plane that's been hijacked, complaining, as opposed to getting involved in doing something. So, how do you bring about this change, and how do you make critical issues that affect people on the local level every day? How do you make those issues benefit us so that we can take advantage of stuff instead of the people who are, quote unquote, in charge?
Well, I think that one of the ways that you would do that, Stan, is through education. You would inform the community, you would inform the public, you would inform the legislatures that a lot of times are ignorant on issues until they're brought to their attention, and then they can act on it. But today on the show, I've invited a couple of people who have sacrificed and put themselves out in front to bring that sort of education that we so earnestly need. And but just a quick brief history on cannabis. Cannabis was a part of, this community forever until a gentleman named Harry Anslinger decided that because he was going to lose his job, he was going to criminalize it. So he went and told some government officials that Mexicans, when they smoked marijuana, became hyper-sexualized. They wanted to rape white women and they wanted to kill white men. And that's all they needed for it to become a criminal. But the other thing that I would say is that many government officials over the years have known that cannabis is not a drug and should not have been made illegal, and they did nothing about it. And I think that in itself is criminal, if we're going to talk about that. But the people that we have on the show today are wonderful. They have started an education center out in North Branford. It's called the Burn and Learn Center, and it's everything cannabis from the farm to the table, like they say. So I like to bring them on. Jennifer and Pat. Welcome to the show, folks.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Terrific, man. So, tell us a little bit about what y'all got going on over there. What is exactly, how did y'all come about the Burn and Learn Center? That's such a cool name.
Thank you. It actually was done by Brother Grow, who is Nick Johnson, spearheaded the name. And we're just talking about the education and the community and how we wanted to provide a service for people to have a place to learn about cannabis, learn about the health benefits, and also have support groups. And then Pat is brilliant with the education aspect of it. And go ahead.
Well, now coming into with legalization, as of now, patients could start growing. Patients could have started growing last year, 2020, as of October. The rest of the general public, as of July 1st, will be able to start growing their own at home, their own medicine. So, with that being said, not everybody either has a place to do it or the
knowledge, Pat, the knowledge to do it. Yeah.
Right. So we'd like to, give an opportunity. I'm not saying that we're the top experts on doing it, but we will definitely show people the basics to get started, and grow from there.
That's beautiful, man. That's such a wonderful job that you all are doing and providing such an outstanding service to the community. Now, there are some classes that you guys plan on having. Can you tell us what some of the classes will be?
Sure. Actually, we started our first class was last week, and it was actually a glass blowing class.
Nice.
And that went awesome. It was fantastic. Everybody had a great time. We like to keep the classes small enough that everybody gets attention, but big enough that you're not teaching one or two people at a time. So like I said, we have the glass blowing class, we have a grow class coming up, and then we're also going to get into the extraction classes, as far as bubble hash and dry sift, and we have a FICO class coming up, which is that's pure cannabis medicine, from start to finish, from how to make it, the differences of a couple different ways of doing it.
And so, guys, tell us, what are your opening hours? What days are you open, and the times?
So if you go to the burnandlearnct.com, that has our course schedule as well as our meetup schedule. We have a mom's meetup that's going on tomorrow at 10:30 here, and then we also have yoga at 6:00 tomorrow night. So I think it's important, so many times people have this stigma about cannabis, yet it's okay to use prescription pills and it's okay to use alcohol. And we just, want to open the door so people can have that conversation and understand what are the health benefits, what are the differences, and how to use cannabis.
And where is the Burn and Learn Center located, guys?
It's on Foxen Road in North Branford. It's 2017 Foxen Road,
which is also Route 80.
In North Branford.
Road goes from New Haven all the way into Killingworth.
Awesome.
So that's in North Branford, right, guys? North Branford, Connecticut.
North Branford, yes.
I had a
All
quick
right.
question. I'm excited about the whole education piece. Because of the pandemic, a lot of individuals, have shifted to the Zoom aspect, as you and I are actually
Here we are right now.
Right here on Zoom. So I wanted to know whether or not there was opportunity for you all to, if you don't already do this, consider hybrid courses or classes for individuals that may not be able to meet with you physically on your North Branford campus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we actually we only briefly started talking about that. Well, once we really start ramping up the classes, then it'll probably make it a lot easier to do.
Awesome.
Some of it is hands-on, and myself, I'm a hands-on learner. It just seems easier for me to learn that way. But it's always being able to actually see it happening rather than reading it in a book or notes or listening to somebody do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. Because the thing that is striking to me is that, having that concept of a foundational understanding of it is absolutely positively necessary. But then with the consideration of the specific hands-on aspects and the types of things that you all can do through the virtual world that we find ourselves in, that could be given some consideration. I bring it up from the virtual perspective because I'm here in Manchester. And so if it is that, let's say, for example, I don't have transportation, aspects of the course could definitely apply to me. And so if I can't make it to campus, then obviously that the virtual option would be available. And I'm glad you all are working on that. So keep up the good
100%.
work. Keep up the good work.
We just literally opened not even a full week ago. Our website is up, but we're just still adding new courses and tweaking it. So it's something that we'll definitely add in the virtual aspect of it for as many classes as we can.
Sure.
Awesome.
And guys, can you speak a little bit about how the state, if you will, or the authorities are treating cannabis right now?
Go ahead.
Myself, I think that from everybody that I have talked to, it's pretty wide open, with the arms open, I'm saying. They know it's the future. I mean, there's going to be some people that are always going to have some sort of issue with change, and being a new industry, I go to say, because it's everywhere. Whether it's in people's food, people are eating it or smoking it or vaping it or rubbing it on their bodies, whatever it is, it's a wide open market that, once you said, like you were talking earlier, the state has their hand out. But they are definitely eyes open and ready for change, I believe.
And I think
I'm sorry. I had a really quick question. Beyond the financial aspect, are there any major barriers of entry into the market that you all have experienced?
Oh, sure. The whole lottery system that they did, what a joke. That you could join the lottery, or you could give us $3 million and slide right in. Take your pick.
Wow. Okay.
That's what it started with the state. And even with the lottery, they started having there was I forget what the number was, how many entries you could actually put into, but then they turned it into like the lottery. You just go put in as many as you want, or could afford to, I should say.
So you have to pay for the lottery to.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
And there was actually two different lotteries. There was an equity lottery, and then there's the general lottery. And I believe the equity lottery was half the price of the regular lottery.
Okay, interesting. All right. Thank you for that information.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. We're up against our first break. So I have lots of questions. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're just
right
getting
here.
started. And it's Morning Talk. The whole issue around, particularly around the lottery. And so I want to explore the $3 million at the end. Because once again, it all comes down to
The money.
the money.
Mm-hmm.
The money. The green.
Follow the money.
Follow.
Yeah.
Follow the yellow brick. I mean the green brick road. Right? Follow
Exactly.
the
It
green.
should be about the people.
The green brick road. It should be about the people,
Absolutely, Jennifer.
but
Yes.
unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. It's Morning Talk. thinkers are Puerto Rican, Mexican, Peruvian, Indian, Bosnian, Italian, Irish, Jamaican, African American, European, straight, gay, Nigerian, transgender, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, short, tall, skinny, rich, poor, happy, sad. Some of us hold a PhD and others a GED. And though we may be Democrats, Republicans, or members of the Working Families Party, we all have escaped the plantation of party politics and become independent thinkers because we as individuals are more than a party. You see, independent thinkers come from all walks of life. And the one thing we all have in common is that we love, live, laugh, and learn in the city of Hartford. We are the constituents, and the government of Hartford belongs to us. My name is J. Stan McCauley. I'm an independent thinker, and I approve this message because it's time to stop towing the party line and vote for a candidate you can trust. You too can escape the plantation of party politics if you have the courage to free your political mind. Oh yeah, we're back. Morning Talk, J. Stan McCauley, along with
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Now we're back. I forgot there was a little bump in. There's There's a voiceover in the bump back, and I came in a little early. That's okay. It happens to the best, so it has to happen to me. Here we go. We're here with Luis Delgado, Dr. Maya Bowen, and of course, two special guests. Mike question. And by the way, if you're out there and you're watching, you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll put your questions forth. I guess one of my questions is in terms of the number of people who would like to do this, who could do this, and be very, very successful, it seems to me it's being artificially limited. It's like they don't want people to do this. They don't want the average person to enter into cannabis as a industry. They're trying to start an industry and grow it, but not grow it with the common person. And a $3 million buy-in says it all.
Exactly, absolutely. And like Pat stated earlier, it was a joke from the beginning. I mean, there were no people from the cannabis community that were involved in the selection process. It was all bureaucrats and politicians. And when you have stuff like that, you start wrong and you're gonna end wrong. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta have people in there that have common sense, they have knowledge, they have sacrificed, like people like Pat and Jen and others that have been doing this for a long time. They've been promoting it. They've been out there in the front line trying to get regulated correctly. And so now, I mean, there was a point now, and we shouldn't be surprised. Let me just say this, because it's just like CVS Pharmacy shutting down their little mom and pop. When I was coming up, we had a lot of local pharmacies. Now you don't see one. The same thing with Walmart. Walmart doesn't want no little convenience store. If they could shut them all down, they would. So, but the thing about this is makes it a little different. It's medicine. And the wonderful thing about cannabis is that if it doesn't help you, it won't hurt you. The side effects is that you may fall asleep, or you may feel, depending on how much you use, you may feel a little bit more tired than normal. You know what I'm saying? But so we can be surprised. But the thing that I would say to the community now, listening, is that there was a point in time where Big Pharma proposed growing synthetic cannabis and selling that to the public. So we have to be very careful as we move forward in the cannabis industry, because it's already been corrupted and it's being manipulated. And like you said, Stan, that $3 million buy-in says it all, because you either take a chance in the lottery, like most of us, we don't have $3 million.
I don't.
And if you have those deep pockets, you can get your license. You know, and then the 250 million, Stan,
or 250,000.
I'm sorry, 250,000 is just to apply, and if your application is not accepted, you don't get that money back. And then it's more than 3 million.
You talk about a racket.
Because when you get politicians, and when you get politicians and bureaucrats involved, Pat, go ahead and talk. Tell them how it gets deeper.
Then once you get, so just say you got and you won the lottery, just the build out alone of the infrastructure, not just the infrastructure, but the build out of just the physical store, just say it's a retail spot, between the security and the software, just to run the program, to be in the program. I believe at one point I heard the software alone was somewhere like $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so you get in with 3 million, and then you need another 15 or 20 startup.
Yeah, to make sure that you're set for the next couple of years.
Yeah, because you can't. 3 million won't get you nothing. 3 million is just to get in. Now you got to have money to put the thing together. And like he says, there's a lot of elements to a big business like that. And I think that the government, like always, and bureaucrats, right, they're being a little avaricious in how they see, because they only see money. And we can't look, indigenous people don't look at cannabis as money. We look at it as medicine. We don't look at the profit margin like that.
So it would almost be tantamount to, I was thinking like, how they came in and regulated cutting your hair. Yes. You need a license for this. You got to go to school. But it would almost be like if you grew tomatoes and cucumbers and some radishes and carrots, and you wanted to sell them on a roadside stand, and they come along and tell you, oh, you can't do that.
Well, you can't do it now.
You can't do that now?
No. You need a license. A permit of some kind. Stan, you selling. The government ain't going to let you sell nothing. Stan.
So
that's how it is.
I need to get out more often.
Well, but the wonderful thing about it is, though, getting back to this, is that we have individuals out here who have been doing this for a long time. They've been sacrificing. They have been all along continuing to evolve the plant. The cannabis that we used when I was in high school. I'm 62. I was in high school in the 70s. That cannabis was way different than the cannabis today, because there's more science that goes into it in terms of knowledge. It's still the same plant, but there's better growing methods, that make it more effective. They can get more of the medicine out. And the wonderful thing about it, once again, it is all natural. It's all natural. So I encourage everyone listening and viewing to call or visit the Burn and Learn Center, because there's a lot of knowledge out there. You can learn how to grow your own. You can learn how to make your own can of butter, which is butter from cannabis that you can use on your food. You can learn to make, you can infuse your olive oil and other food items that you use in the kitchen. So there's a lot of food applications and medical applications. I'm diabetic. I have neuropathy. At night, I have a salve that this gentleman that I know makes. Is pure THC and pure coconut oil. I rub that on my feet because they feel heavy and painful, and that helps out a lot. It helps me sleep. So there's a lot of wonderful uses. I've expressed on the program before. I used to have asthma, and I put all my asthma medicine in a bag and threw it out and started drinking cannabis tea. And I don't use any medicine anymore. I can run, I can jog. So there's a lot of wonderful things. And if you go to the Burn and Learn Center, there's so much wonderful information that those folks will impart, on you, that you'll leave there with a lot of knowledge, on all the uses, not just medicinal, but uses of cannabis.
Okay, so
I think when it comes down to it, recreational or medicinal, it's all medicine.
Yeah.
Whether it's used for it or not, it's working that way anyway.
Absolutely.
Whether it's anxiety or joint pain, whatever it is.
So yes.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on. It was great having you. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Sounds
great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Great show.
Before you leave, let people know one more time how they can get in touch with you.
They can contact us through the website. Mm-hmm. It's Burn, BURN, Learn, LEARNCT.com.
All right. Dynamite.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful day. And thanks again.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bless.
All right, now.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Man, what a wonderful, wonderful guest, Stan. And I just want to let all our viewers and listeners know once again that I think is the 23rd, we're going to have Andrew Woods on to talk about mental health in general, but particularly in the Black and brown community.
Right.
I can't wait for that conversation,
next week,
man.
But the week after.
Yes, I can't wait for that conversation. There's so much that we need to know about mental health and how, we carry that. You know what I'm saying? How it's passed on, either genetically or through trauma. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can't wait to have Andrew on. Well,
that'll be a good topic. Yeah, so that's interesting because it caused me, the conversation was interesting because it caused me to rethink to rethink as it pertains to cannabis, because I think cannabis has been so demonized, so stigmatized, that and the way the government treated cannabis over the years, that it's hard for some people to get their head around the fact that it's okay.
And I think that's beautifully put, Stan, because the same thing can be said about a lot of things. I mean, you're 60 years old, and from the time you were 15, let's say, you've been told that cannabis is terrible, that it's bad, all the wonderful things. And now at 60, the government, educators, the laity, they're all telling you that it's okay. You're like, wait a minute. You're telling me my whole life that it's bad, and now you're telling me that you personally lie to me, and you want me to believe that too.
Right.
So it's hard on people, Stan.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a lot of the religions are the same thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are completely confused. I've said it on this show. I've had pastors tell me, brother, we got it wrong from the beginning. We got to do it over. Pastors telling me, brother, you made me question, my beliefs. You rock my belief system, brother, because I have to think about what you're saying. I have to process that because some of it makes sense. Some of it, so it's hard on people when you are led your whole life one way, and then all of a sudden they're telling you, well, you're going the wrong way, but you realize I'm not going the wrong way. You took me the wrong way. It's hard.
What I'm finding interesting, because it is, and I'm in my 40s now, I'm realizing that I'm, not able to do a lot of things that I was able to do as a teenager or in my 20s. But as we go from season to season, your body really begins to change. And I don't think that major discussion between generations is actually happening in a broader scale, which lends into how it is that the medicinal effects of marijuana and its different forms can assist in those body transitions that rear their ugly head in terms of pain, right? And so from 20 to 30 to 40 and beyond, your body starts experiencing certain types of deterioration, and you exhibit or experience it through the type of pain, getting up slower in the morning, having to rock out of a chair, after having to consider being cautious when it is that you take specific steps, because you are more prone to injure yourself if it is that you step down the wrong way, specifically on a stair from level to level. Even if it's just one stair, the wrong move can cause some real damage. And so I think that we need to think about how it is that we essentially begin more and more to narrow the gap in the knowledge of transitioning from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s and beyond, in regards to the body deteriorating in its natural progression, right? Individuals have different types of habits, eating habits, sleeping habits, and all that good stuff. But then we bring in the conversation of marijuana in its various forms in terms of assisting in the type of pain signals that our body gives us, will become something that is greatly talked about. Because I know that I'm not the only one experiencing certain types of tweaks of pain in my 40s. So I've got a whole group or generation out there that we see the change from our 30s and our 20s. And so, because you all are a little bit more seasoned beyond the 40s group, right? Obviously, the deterioration and the pain signals are coming in different and capacity and different areas and all that good stuff. So the conversation needs to be something that is absolutely destigmatized, so that it is that individuals can get the help or remedies that they need to hit these pain signals when they hit us.
Very, very well stated, Dr. Maya. Absolutely. And so I think as you get older, though, it's been my experience that pain is almost like a part of life. I'm in pain every day. I have sciatica. I have something going on with my back. So you just kind of push through. But there are a lot of good home remedies out there, and cannabis is definitely one of them. For a lot of different things.
Once upon a time, all the remedies were home remedies.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a legacy of healing, oils, balms, treatments, plants, from back into antiquity. It wasn't really until the big pharma came along and turned everything that you used to do into something you shouldn't do, but you should take this,
which is the same thing, but I made it,
or I stigmatize, demonize all of the remedies you had, so that you'll stop and take the
this. Same thing that I'm making synthetically, but under my name,
right? And control and profit.
It's so sad, but a lot of things are coming to light now. A lot of things are coming to light in terms of medicine and things like that. And I just want to say that cannabis has been found throughout history in ancient Egypt or Kemet, in ancient China, and in other ancient civilizations. It's been it's come all along to today. It's nothing new.
No, absolutely nothing new. And not only is it new, there are a whole lot of herbs and plants and roots that bring about healing.
Absolutely. Ginger.
But you're just not, you're not made aware of the knowledge.
That's the kind of stuff our kids need to be learning in school.
They should.
That's the kind of stuff they need to be learning. They need to learn how to grow. They need to learn how to identify. You know, I've been Stan. I used to go on some of these school trips with I worked in education, and we pull up somewhere, man. I got some of these black and brown kids calling cows chickens.
Wow, that's not good.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they don't know what about that.
It's city living for you.
And I speak about this all the time. Our kids need to be learning functional things. How to change a tire. I speak about this. You know what I'm saying? How to grow something from scratch, from a seed. You know what I'm saying? How to take care of it.
Lou. But beyond that, it's a bizarre type of journey in a lot of different classrooms, right? Because each classroom, so to speak, is its own sovereign. And so in that you would have a teacher that would introduce these things specifically in the science field, that would be a plus to the students that are exposed to that particular teacher. But in that it's not consistent across the board, specifics on how to identify and do, moreover do, right? So we get introduced to a lot of concepts, but how do you do it? How do you put it into practical or actionable types of processes to make it tangible? I mean, from the perspective that you just gave, that some of the kids didn't know a horse or a cow from a chicken, that is not good, because that's something you learn pretty much from preschool, with that being an introduction. But that's not necessarily the case where it is that things are quote unquote common sense related, right? So every student is exposed to different things, but some of the basics in terms of animals that you would be able to associate with, you would think that would be common sense. But based on your story, they couldn't tell the difference between what was it, a cow versus a chicken. That's not good.
They call the cow a chicken.
At all.
Well, the thing is this: our children. First of all, I haven't recently looked at a preschool curriculum, so I don't know what our children are being taught in preschool. To be honest with you, Dr. Maya. And then the other thing is that I know some of the things that our kids are being taught in school, and it's completely useless. I'm going to be honest with you. It's useless.
I believe that. I was part of the system. I know exactly what you're talking about. As a matter of fact, Lou Ray, I shared this a while back, but when I entered into Weaver High School as a 9th grader, I want to say between the 9th and 10th grade, I ended up taking a civics class. Can you believe it? They actually offer civics back then. But here's the thing that I want to point out. When it is that I was issued out my textbook, not only was it worn and torn, but it happened to be one of my cousin's textbooks that he had gotten. So if he is 9 years older than me, I was getting a 9-year-old textbook, worn and tattered. Not only that, out of date. Now, check this out. I want to say within that same year, for some strange reason, I found myself in the hallway. I was probably roaming, trying to seek out something, because they had switched up classes that I wasn't supposed to get, and I needed to get into classes. But needless to say, the door to the resource office was actually open, and that is where they held they were housing or storing all of the brand new textbooks. All of them, like shelves, millions of dollars of textbooks. But here it is. I have a 9-year-old textbook that could have been easily replaced, but wasn't. It the types of things that go on behind closed doors can be very detrimental to what it is that individuals experience on a day-to-day basis. And the fact of the matter that they had books, brand new books, but did not give those brand new books to us as students is a travesty, and it's not equitable, and it is beyond me in terms of why it is that they would do that. However, again, they're playing chess and not checkers. And so that means that they have a idea of what it is that they want to deliver in terms of the education as a service. And as recipients of said education, we are at their whim. And so until it is that we actually start making more moves towards identifying what it is that their true objectives are and then holding them to that. So you can't tell me that you're about the kids and you're not giving the kids the brand new books that you have in storage. How does that match up?
Well,
it's not apples to apples there.
I would just make this contribution to this particular conversation, Dr. Maya, that the age of the book does not matter as much as the information contained in the book. Because a book can be 9 years old or 900 years old. Because if the information is relevant and true, then it doesn't matter. The issue that I have with books in schools is, first of all, the information is incorrect. A lot of it. So we can give our kids new books every year. If the information is wrong, how is that helping them? So what we have to focus on is this, okay? That somebody else is right, and this goes to the audience, to the listeners and the viewers. Somebody else is right does not make it your right. And if you make 4 right, sister, you're going in a circle. And that's what they do to us. They having us going around in a circle because everybody's right is not right for us. What's right for others is not right for us.
Hold on for a second, though. Understandably so. But here's the thing, though.
The Bible is one of the oldest books. And nobody ever complains about getting a new book, a new Bible. The information inside the book is what matters. But please, sister, go ahead.
Understandably so. My point is that with what you're saying in terms of what's in the book is absolutely it trumps, so to speak, the age of the book. However, my point is that if you have new books to be issued out to students and you're withholding those books as if those are the books are actually hostages that should based on the taxpayers' dollars be issued to the students that are attending that school. That's my point. Now, the information and books based on their actual age, as long as it's relevant, I wholeheartedly agree with you. However, my issue wasn't that the information was wrong. My issue is that the book itself could have been replaced with a new book that was actually being stored or held hostage in the storage room. Okay, so from the perspective that taxpayers' dollars went into purchasing all those books, but the students who are supposed to be recipients of said books were not given those books. That's the issue. If you have taxpayers' dollars or any dollars that are supposed to be benefiting the students, and the students are not getting benefit from said resources, then that is an issue. So what's the holdup? Why would you not put into play what you've spent millions of dollars purchasing? There's, again, playing chess, not checkers. Now, I'm going to come back to your point. The historical nature of a book containing relevant data, that in itself is the value. However, when we're talking about following the green brick road, we have students out there that could be benefiting from these millions of dollars. But ideally, how do we know what their actual benefits are besides how it is that we go through this whole rote testing of the students? Okay, all these students can learn. But if it is that you have an individual, and I'm digressing just a little bit here, but if you have an individual in the classroom that thinks a student, any student, cannot learn, that is a problem.
Well, we're up against the break. top of the hour, and
I'd like that be my final words.
Could it, yeah. Unfortunately, so yeah, she's gonna leave it at night. Could it be that we have educational propaganda, like we have propaganda in other areas, as opposed to teaching kids the truth of things? Dr. Maya Bowen, she's here every Wednesday, and she's got a class to teach, but.
The beat goes on.
The beat goes on.
Continues.
We'll be back. Stick and stay. Don't go anywhere. It's Morning Talk.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. It's Morning Talk. We're here every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can watch Morning Talk, 8 o'clock. So all you need to know is 8 o'clock. Whether you're watching us 8 o'clock during the daytime or 8 o'clock at night, just tune in and Morning Talk will be there. All right. So 8 in the morning, 8 at night. If you miss it in the morning, you catch it at night live. All right. So just always tune in at 8. It's Morning Talk. Then of course at 10 is Light Source Victory Television. So you can tune in the morning, you can tune in at night. 8 and 10, remember those. And then we got new things that we're going to be adding. All right. Soon. So, just stick and stay. I'm hanging out still here with Cacique.
Hey, so Stan, Dr. Maya, her point was very interesting to me, because the fact that those books were never delivered to those children, and I'm not speaking for Dr. Maya, but I believe this is the point that she may have been trying to make, is that those books were never sold or bought with the intention of ever being given to the students. That could have been a deal, like you stated off air, that somebody was just getting paid. You know what I'm saying? And that's it, those books. But, now that we're speaking about this, and I spoke about this on the show, one of the worst travesties of justice that I've seen in this city happened at Weaver.
The
First,
old or the new?
The new Weaver, but not this brand new one. The one before this update.
But in the same location.
Yeah, the same location.
All right.
First of all, Thomas Snell Weaver was a white man who publicly went on record stating that he didn't want black kids in his school. and we turned around and named the school after him. And nobody in Hartford, no politician or anybody except me, that I know of, has had the nerve to publicly say, let's remove that name and put one of our people on there. Mm-hmm. And the only name that I can think of that could ever go on there is Doc. Okay?
Doc Hurley.
Doc Hurley. Mm-hmm. He built that school up.
Well, a good time to have changed the name would have been with Weaver 3.0. When they redid this one, they should have changed the name to Doc Hurley High.
Yeah, but
anyway. I mean, it's not too late, but
anyway, mm-hmm. that should have been the only name that went up in that school, Stan. Is Doc Hurley. But getting back to what I was telling you, man, I was at Weaver, and they had these huge laundry bins, mm-hmm. Big baskets, full of, all of them, full of African and African American history. Mm-hmm. And they were throwing them all away. They had them to throw them in a dumpster. And I'm going to tell you why I say that's a travesty of justice. Weaver High School was supposed to be the flagship of black education. And they turned it into a waste. It was a wasteland by the time they finished. They didn't have, they were ready to shut it down, and there were no black educators or brown, no black or brown politicians, no black or brown bureaucrats that ever said, hey, I don't like what's going on in Weaver. That's our school. We should have some pride in that. That's our community school. I never heard that. So for me, and then the other thing that bothers me is that statue of Doc Hurley. And the revered elder who passed away, Mr. Ansari, mm-hmm. agreed with me when I said that is a statue of a white man. That's not. What is that? So we need to take, pride in our community and the things that we have and demand better. All of our great people, Maya Angelou says it all the time. I quote her all the time. When you know better, you do better. You can't be mad at yourself for what you didn't know, Stan.
Well, most people, no, you shouldn't be mad at yourself.
But you should be.
But a lot of people are very upset when they find out the truth.
Right. But you could be, but you should be, but you should be madder, Stan.
At the liar.
Well, at the fact that now you know the truth and you refuse to change.
Well, see, that gets into a whole nother line of thought there. If you know the truth and you refuse to change, then you're not really embracing the truth. I mean, that's like going down that's you know what that's like? That's like the husband that's driving down the wrong road. His wife is telling him, honey, we're on the wrong road. And I know where I'm going. And he just keeps on going. He's in denial of the truth. But sooner or later, he's going to find out you're not on the road going to where you want to go. So at some point, you got to embrace.
Like any good husband, he'll be mad at his wife for not listening to her. I'm just kidding, Stan. It's a bad joke.
Well, honey, maybe you might have been right. No, she was right when you turned off the exit. You knew you didn't know where you were going. You were just hoping it would turn out that it would go to the same place. But that's a little man husband. That's a husband joke thing going on there. But the truth is very, very powerful, and people will go to no lengths to keep it from you as long as they can, in whatever way they can. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, when people find out that they've been lied to, they get very upset at the person that's lying to them. But every once in a while, people get mad at themselves for having been duped. Because they feel like they, and they get mad. But, what can you say? That book stuff, though, is troubling. Because it sounds to me like, and this is what we were saying off the air, the first thing that comes to my mind is, if you take receipt of anything that never sees the light of day, then that's just a money transfer to whoever you bought it.
And it's a payoff.
Yeah, that's like
payoff.
That's an old game, you want to transfer money to a particular person, politician, whatever the case is. So you buy something that they have, and let's say write a book, and you buy 1,000 copies. You buy 5,000 copies, and now you're transferring money to them. You got these books. What are you gonna do? You put them in the trash, lock them up in a room.
Well, here's
give
the
them
thing:
away?
as a bookmaker, I can buy 5,000 books from you and pay you, and have you send them to the incinerator because you don't really care. Well,
I'm just in the business of selling books.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So my point in this conversation, brother, which I think it was.
What about the curriculum?
Well, hold on.
The curriculum industrial complex.
Let me make this point, brother, because I think this is. And I'm not speaking. Once again, I'm not speaking for her. But after she went off the air and you and I had a little talk, I thought about it, and I think that that's systematic. I think that goes on all the time.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. But systematic corruption, right? But I'm talking about systematically bringing that kind of economic violence to, because that's economic violence to our community, because it's stealing.
And it's stealing.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
And
here's
really,
the thing.
It's really exploitation.
And that's where the kickback comes in.
It's exploiting our community.
Because now I bought the books from you. I paid you for
Right.
5,000 books, $40,000, whatever.
Where's my money?
Well, I'll get it back somehow.
Right.
Because now
That's
you
the
may
kickback.
spend some of your money. You don't have to give it to me directly, but you can spend some of your money in a company that I have some interest in or that I own. And nobody has to know that. And that's where the kickback comes in.
Okay, so I don't have any money, but I am in an institution or an agency that does. So I'm going to purchase $1-2 million worth of your product.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take receipt of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a warehouse so that we can say that it is indeed here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you'll set up a shell company that'll front the money for my company.
Mm-hmm.
It'll loan my company that I'm starting money. That I'm starting, it will loan me money. And no one's the wiser.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
No one is the wiser. You sound almost like a diner.
And that's what they do. And that's what they do, Stan. And a lot of this stuff is coming out now. A lot of this stuff is coming out. That's why, and in the past, see, here's the thing. In the past, a lot of these people were allowed to leave. They steal $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. They're allowed to leave because it costs more to prosecute them than to get that $50,000 back. That's right, man. So we have to have everything that we know of as a system, as a requirement or whatever, all that stuff has to change, brother.
Well, I think oh man.
It has to evolve.
I think as the I think this is our last break. I think that as a evolve. I like that. Evolve. It needs to evolve as opposed to necessarily change. It needs to evolve. And I think that evolution can only happen if we cause it to happen. If we cause it to happen. There has to be accountability and transparency. And the only way that accountability and transparency happens, in my opinion, is when the people who know better do better, which is the enlightened ones. If the community leaders are enlightened, if they are setting examples, the elders that know have a burden and a responsibility to hold these systems accountable, whether they're religious systems, whether they're nonprofit agencies, whether it's business, or whether it's government, without an outside eye, without outside agitators, they'll do whatever they want.
Absolutely.
They're like children playing in a house full of guns who don't know any better. They'll do everything they can, and then they'll destroy each other if the parents don't provide oversight.
Mm-hmm.
And the constituent is like the parent, and the government are like children who can do good given direction. But without that direction, they become self-destructive. Corruption sets in. They start doing only what's in their own interest. Mm-hmm. They build in systems that protect themselves. Mm-hmm. They write laws that make it very difficult for you to challenge them. Mm-hmm. They sign union contracts that are going to benefit them. The union members wind up campaigning for them. So now you have a conflict of interest. How can you hold a union accountable when you need them to get elected?
That's crazy.
You can't. So who suffers? The constituents or the citizens suffer. The community suffers. They are being exploited for the sake of the gain of these people.
So
quickly,
we'll
be right back.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Is it the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they are fighting for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash?
Stop. Cue that back up to the beginning.
How do you define evil? Is it the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they are fighting for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for constituents to flip the script and leave the plantation of party politics and free your political mind.
Good afternoon. My name is Nwalki Tete. I'm a parent to a student in Hartford High. And I would say the program was very good. It taught us a lot about how to deal with our kids, how to handle situations. So I would say it's good for all parents to partake if you can. And our coach was very good. She taught us a lot about the Parents University. So I'm so happy and I'm glad I took part in the Parents University. So thank you so much. Love you. My name is Nwalki Tete. Bye.
Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Final segment, Morning Talk. All right. I'm here with Lou Kasiki in the house.
Stan, before we leave, I just want to share with the family that another police officer from the Hartford Police Department was arrested for domestic violence with a family member. And the paper they didn't identify who that family member was. But the odd thing about it is that from what the paper says, but it seems like this brother also didn't report to his superiors that he had been informed, that he had been arrested. Just like that other brother that was involved in the shootout in Waterbury didn't tell his. That doesn't send out good messages to the community.
Well, it sends out a twofold message, really. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, he was he placed on administrative leave?
After the police department found out, I guess the other people had to call to report it.
Right. So I guess the good is that they were put on leave immediately. And I guess pending investigation, it'll be interesting to see what the outcome is in terms of their longevity with the department. And a lot of this stuff is all covered in the union contract, which is one reason why we were so very vehemently opposed to the contract and trying to, not necessarily, I shouldn't say opposed to the contract. We're trying to open up contracts in the city. Not just the police department, but all city contracts to the constituent.
To make the negotiations public is what you're saying.
In an ideal world. Yes. Now, I understand that, there's their employees versus the employer, and there's a negotiation. But the employer, the city, is negotiating on behalf of the constituents. And while we do have a representative republic that we elect people to represent us, not to micromanage them, because there's a whole lot of us and we don't all agree, there should be certain aspects of that are open to the public. Like we come back and they present something. So, I don't have any false hopes that everything, like we're going to be in the negotiating room because we have elected officials there. But the more I think we clamor for that, the more our legislative representatives will take an active role, because they are kind of like hands off, because it's really the mayor's responsibility. But as long as the mayor and the elected legislators seek union support,
they rolling with the union
to get elected. To me, that's a conflict of interest. You can't negotiate on our behalf when you're cutting a deal for their support.
Right. So I think that the negotiations should be recorded as they happened, and that should be accessible to the public.
As
it happens. And this way you can't chime in, you can't comment, but you can hear everything that's being said, and you can write comments, or you can question, your representative, your whoever the city hey, did you hear this? And they're doing, you know what I'm saying? So that should not be a problem because of what you said. You're representing, you're negotiating on my behalf, on behalf of the citizens.
Right.
And we have a right,
absolutely,
to know everything that's taking place in that meeting. All that, public information law, that's out the window. That's public. You're dealing on my behalf. I want to know what you're saying to make sure that you are dealing on my behalf and not on behalf of that union. That's correct.
I like that. This is something that you should be able to watch. And if they can't do that, then the whole negotiation process should be recorded and then made available afterwards.
That's not a good thing, Stan, because things can happen that we won't be able to act on as a community if we don't know about it happening.
Right. We may not be able to intercede, but if we know what went on in the room, it becomes public record after the ink is dry.
We'll know who sold us out.
Then we can say, but in the next election, you're out.
The only problem that I have, Stan, is that I'm not interested in knowing who killed me or who planned on killing me. I want to know before it happens. So I would rather have that going on live.
I like that.
And then we can chime in. We can call in. We can call in representatives or managers or whoever. Hey, these people are, they're trying to rob us, or they're saying this or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And have an active participation. You want the community to get involved in voting and to come out? Then make us part of the process. Stop playing games. In this program, we give plenty of great ideas of how to bring positive change about. And here's another one. Right here on the morning conversations. We have a lot of wonderful ideas. But, I know we're getting ready to end, Stan, and I just want to shout out Jen and Pat for having the courage to come on. I know you were nervous, and I know it's risky, but I'm going to tell you it's worth it. Standing on what you believe in is beautiful and it's powerful. And I want to shout out my brother, Mudaris Jihad. Brother, thank you for the information. This brother has been my mentor and always sends me information. This morning, he sent me a TikTok that is reminding all people from Borinquen, Borinquen, that Africans didn't come to Puerto Rico or to Borinquen as slaves. They came as freemen initially. They were called libertos, which were free men. And then when they started bringing slaves, that's when the slave population came over. And for all the people of Borinquen, you should know that many of our ancestors are from Ghana and Nigeria. And shout out to my man Eugenio Caro. Shout out to our ancestor Gloria Herena. Shout out to all of our great people in this city, our young people that are doing incredible things. Once again, this year, Mario Davis and Glenn Malden. And there's another brother that's getting involved this year, Mario Lugo. And they're going to do a wonderful league for over 30 over at the Y. And I want to thank them for continuing to provide safe spaces for our young men to participate in safety, and in an incredible competitive spirit. Yes. So shout out to all the people in Hartford that are making a difference, that are trying to do great things. Blessings to all the family out there. Thank you so much. Peace.
All right. Well, my friends, that kind of wraps it up for us. We're heading down the road for another week. It's Wednesday. What do you guys got planned for the rest of your week? Want to remind you, we're here 8:00. Just remember 8:00. That's all. 8 a.m. p.m. 7 days a week. Morning talk. So tune in. All right. Leave comments. If you'd like to be on, drop us a line. Let me get the email, put it up here so that you can email us. morningtalk@accesstv.org. morningtalk@accesstv.org. And, we're here for the community. We give you an opportunity to speak your mind. And you can let us know that you got something you'd like to say. send you a link and you can join us via Zoom. You can always drop the comments into the chat section of Facebook, the chat section on LinkedIn, and the chat section on Twitter or YouTube. So there's plenty of ways for you to communicate with us. We see your comments. Some comments here about Kyrie. Although one of your friends says he just absolutely positively cannot stop watching the Knicks.
That's a choice.
He's a New York Knicks fan.
I love my Knicks. You know, Clyde Frazier was my first really. I try to fashion when I was an athlete. I try to fashion my game like a great defensive player, a team player. So I understand all of that. But at some point, and this goes to all our black and brown people, and to all the good people in this country and in the world, at some point, you have to make a decision as to how much you are willing to take and accept. And I think that we're at the point right now that we can make an incredible dent on racism, discrimination, poverty, corruption, all these things, all these ills that we have. We have an incredible opportunity to make a difference. Thank you so much, family.
All right, my friends, we'll see you next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye-bye now.
McCauley, and I do business as Light Source Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be. But let's say a big event, but no video. You spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. Give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.